First of all, let me welcome you to my office. I would thank you once again. Thanks CIB 24 for being here and giving me the opportunity to communicate with you and all of the viewers that are watching us at this time.
Now, can you tell me the difference between the three levels of government?
In Canada, we have a governance system that entails three levels of government. We have the municipal government, the provincial government, and the federal government. In the municipal governments, we have the mayor and the town council or the city council, and they have the primary responsibility of looking after the day-to-day requirements of running the town, including hydro, including fixing the roads, picking up the garbage, a whole slew of things, looking after our parks and our recreation and our arenas. An important part, of course, in our communities, and that's why mayors and municipal councils are usually hugely popular amongst constituents. The provincial government has the responsibility of the entire province of Ontario, with primary responsibility in some key areas, such as health and education. Very important, of course, because we need to educate Canadians, particularly our children, so that they can grow up and become contributing citizens to our province and our country. But in addition to that, of course, the health system, which is very, very important. We all need a doctor, we all need a hospital, and from time to time, we need to look after our loved ones. The province has responsibility for those two primary areas, as well, of course, as a whole bunch of other areas. The federal government has responsibility for federal issues, national issues, from coast to coast to coast across Canada, and they include things such as the management of our natural resources, citizenship and immigration, industry, the development of our fishing and fisheries on the coast of our country, and a number of other things. And it's very important putting through proper legislation through justice, and of course responsible for the brave men and women that serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. But I have always said, and this is actually what we operate as in Canada, we work on a collaborative basis. Governing is a collaborative basis. We have to work cooperatively. So all three levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal, work very closely together so that we can attend to the needs and the requirements of Canadians. This is a system that is very democratic. In all the three of those levels, there are elections, and it's always the people that choose who represent them. And of course, I'm hugely humbled to have the privilege to represent the best town and the best province and the best country in which to live, Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Can you tell me a little bit about riding redistribution as well? How will I know what riding I'm a member of?
Yes, the riding redistribution process was necessary because from time to time, usually about every 10 years, we look at where the population growth has been in the country. And we are governed in a system called representation by population. So we want to make sure that we have proper representation for all citizens across the country. So the riding redistribution process that we just went through necessitated the addition of 30 additional ridings so we can have better representation for our growing population in our parliament, in our federal parliament. And as it happens, in York region, because of the growth that we've had with 1.1 million people, 3 additional ridings were added to the region. One of those ridings is a result of splitting up Richmond Hill and splitting up the town of Aurora. So there's a new riding now called the Aurora Oak Ridges Richmond Hill riding, which happens to be the riding in which I live and with my family, and the riding that I have been the honor of being nominated as the federal Conservative candidate for the next federal election in October of 2015.
Now, what exactly does an MP do? What are the roles that an MP will fill?
As a member of Parliament, I have the responsibility of representing the constituents of my riding in the federal parliament in Ottawa. I have primarily two responsibilities, but at the end of the day, they're the same. One is within my constituency, in my constituency office. I meet with constituents, with associations, with businesses, with organizations. I listen to what their needs or their requirements are from a federal perspective, and I assist them in that communication with the federal government to ensure that they're getting the best possible service for whatever their requirement happens to be. Of course, in Ottawa, as with all parliamentarians, I have the responsibility of being a legislator, responsible for representing my constituents there in Ottawa, and their voice, and making sure that their voice is heard at times of debate of different pieces of legislation, as well as bring forth legislation that I think is important to my constituents.
Can you tell me your three most significant accomplishments during your time in office?
From the outset, I've made I've made it very, very clear to my staff, to my constituents, and to everybody that I will be accessible. I think one of my, I don't want to call it a contribution, but one of my responsibilities as a member of parliament is to ensure that I'm accessible to my constituents. And so I moved the office from where the previous member of parliament had it, which was in the tip of the riding, to in the middle of the riding, so because I wanted all residents, all constituents, to have easier access to their member of parliament, because anybody who sits in this chair, in any member of parliament's chair, is sitting in a borrowed chair. It is the people that give you the right to sit in this chair, and I am hugely humbled and feel the responsibility to give back. And therefore, I think one of the things that I've been able to do for people in Richmond Hill is easy access to their member of parliament. I've also worked very, very hard to ensure that proper funding has been solicited and successfully received by organizations in Richmond Hill that provide services to the residents. For example, I believe to date 17 seniors groups have received funding under a program called New Horizons for Seniors in Richmond Hill. And my office, my staff and I have ensured that the requirements of the seniors in our riding have been well looked after. We were able to secure $733,000 for the Stoico Arena, an important arena that not only serves Richmond Hill, but serves the region as a whole. I believe that I listen to what constituents want as well. And so on a periodic basis, I hold meet and greets to hear what their needs and their requirements are, so that they can come and have a coffee and talk to me and have an opportunity to tell me what's important to them. And I should note that one of the most important things that for all Canadians is the money that's available in their pockets, so that they can provide for their families. And so on an annual basis, I hold pre-budget consultations, usually two of them, one with the business community and one with the constituents at large, individuals, to hear what their requirements are and what they would like to see in the federal budget in terms of so that the budget can contribute to them as well. And I provide a detailed, comprehensive report to the Minister of Finance outlining the requirements of Richmond Hill in the budget. And I'm happy to say that a number of those things that Richmond Hill constituents have spoken out about have been included in the federal budget. It's important to get the voice of the people heard in the different ministries, and that's to me a key factor and a key responsibility for every member of parliament.
Can you tell me a little bit about what the Conservative government stands for?
The Conservative Party of Canada represents, to me, conservative values, fiscal responsibility. We believe in keeping taxes low. You keep taxes low, it puts more funds, more money available in the companies that hire people, so that they can hire more people. I'm very proud to say that since the global economic turndown of 2009, over 1 million jobs have been created in Canada. Both the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, have rated that Canada will lead the G7 in the economy over the next 2 years. We're a small country of 34.5 million people, but we are leaders on the economic front, largely due to the fiscal responsibility of the Conservative government under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper. To me, Conservative values are family values. And it's important to note that we have put in comprehensive crime legislation to ensure that our streets and our communities are safe for our families, safe for our children, safe for our parents and our grandparents. That's very important to us. Unfortunately, in an atmosphere of minority governments, you cannot pass meaningful legislation like that because politics, partisan politics, quite often prevent the passing of some very good legislation. But fortunately for me and my constituents in Richmond Hill, on May 2nd of 2011, Canada voted for a strong, stable, national majority Conservative government, and we have been able to pass some very strong, good legislation that has sent a strong message to criminals that we're going to protect victims and we're going to protect Canadians at all times. In addition, we have focused on expanding Canadian markets. We have signed 10 free trade agreements around the world, the largest of which we've worked on and continue to work on is the Canada-Europe Free Trade Agreement. That opens Canada to a market of about 550 million people and access to $13 trillion. Will add 80,000 Canadian jobs. These are exciting things. Not only are we keeping taxes low and being very prudent about how we spend taxpayer dollars, but we're also increasing our revenues by expanding our markets around the world. So I can tell you with great conviction that I'm a strong Conservative and very proud to be of the Stephen Harper team.
Now let's bring it back to 1988 when you founded a marketing company. Can you tell me how your experience in that field applies to your current position?
Well, I'm not a career politician. I have a business background. I founded a marketing company, a logistics company in Richmond Hill, which is still going strong. I'm a public officer now, so I've entrusted that in other people to run it for me. But definitely by being out in the real world as a businessman, you have to worry about the payroll, meeting payroll, you have to hire people, you have to expand your business, and you're out there on every single day on the ground working hard. It gives you a very good understanding of the needs of your community, of the business community, and certainly what our economy is all about. So I think that combined with my volunteer experience over a 25-year period in a number of organizations across the Greater Toronto area gave me a very good rounding to be able to understand the community very, very well.
Now, how can I or people in general get more involved in politics?
It's important to get involved in the political process. I did at a very young age. I got involved by helping out, by joining a political party, by volunteering in different organizations, because it gives you a different feeling. It's a feeling of what's called self-actualization, that you're giving something back. When you volunteer somewhere, you're not being paid, you're a volunteer, but you're getting a lot of satisfaction for what you're doing, for giving back to your community. And that gives you a pretty good rounding of what it's all about. It's a feeling that you're not waiting for a paycheck at the end of the week when you give something back. So my advice to people, particularly young people, is to get involved in the political process. And if you have aspirations for a political career, take the time to get involved, to meet residents, to meet associations, organizations, things that are of interest to you, and political parties. Get involved in the political process. Once you get that in your blood, it never leaves.
And finally, how can the viewers get a hold of you?
I'm always accessible. I have 2 offices. I have my office in Richmond Hill at 9555 Yonge Street, Suite 400. The telephone number is 905-770-4440. My staff is here Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if I am not here and I'm in Ottawa, they make sure that I get every single message, and I'm involved in every single file and every single phone call that comes through my office at some point. In addition, I have an office on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, room 163 in the Confederation Building, right in the parliamentary precinct. People can get a hold of me there. The number is area code 613-995-9895. They can speak to me or my staff in Ottawa, and certainly the phone calls that come in from constituents are the most important phone calls that come through my office. So I make sure they get the due attention that they so rightly deserve to get, and I look after every single request that comes through my office.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you very much. Thank you once again. Thank you to CIB24 for giving me this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the beginning of what's looking like the summer season. I know we had a tough winter, but we're going to go through the summer, and in the summer, politicians are back home. And I'll be in Richmond Hill because Parliament rises on the fourth week of June, and I look forward to seeing and meeting each and every single one of you, because it's important to me to hear from you, to listen to you, to serve you, and to have the opportunity to communicate with you on an ongoing basis. So I'm looking forward to the summer with great anticipation, and thank you once again for listening to us today.